All right. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are watching this. I know some of you guys have some really funky schedules going on right now. So, um, this is the presentation video. I'm going to try to do these for each one of the topics that we do. It's just here to help you guys understand the topics that we're going over. Think of this as my class lecture, as me standing in front of the class, explaining everything to you guys. I'm going to try to keep these as short as possible. I know you guys are kind of short attention spans, but remember, you can always pause it and come back to it later. So if you're doing the work and you forgot what I said in my video, guess what you can do? You can always come back to it and watch what I said there. So this lesson is going to be focusing on how to figure out the volume of a cylinder. And by the end of this lesson, there are three things that I want you guys to be able to know. The first of which is that you're able to find the volume of a cylinder in mathematical and real world situations. Next, that you know the formula for the volume of a cylinder. And then finally, I can find missing information about a cylinder if I know its volume and some other information. So to start off with, there are some things that you guys will definitely need to know before you get into the actual lesson. Some background items that you need to know. First of all, what is volume? So volume is how much three-dimensional space is occupied by the object. So how much space does something occupy? How much things does it take up? How big is it? What does it hold? We can also say that volume is the capacity of an object. How much stuff can you put inside that object? So how much water can you hold in it? What is the capacity of it? If you look at a gallon jug, how much water can you pour inside of it? What is the volume of that? And then finally, you need to know what a cylinder is. So this right here is a cylinder. If you look at a cylinder, you notice that its base is a circle. And that's going to be important for us later on when we start talking about these. But the base of it is a circle. And if you then look at it, it also has height. So it has three dimensions, something that we haven't been really dealing with before. So here's the two-dimensional shape, which is a circle. And now we have layers of circles going up until we have this cylinder right here. Okay, so this is a cylinder. It is a circular three-dimensional object, and it rolls, just like any other circle will. So this is a cylinder. But since the base is a circle, one of the things that we have to make sure that we know is how to find the area of a circle. So if you don't remember the formula for area of a circle, the formula is area equals pi r squared. So the area, how much this takes up, how much space this two-dimensional shape takes, the circle takes up, is equal to pi, which for our sake, we're just going to use 3.14 times the radius. So the radius is from the center of the circle to the outside of the circle. And you take that number and you square it. So when you square something, all you're doing is multiplying it by itself. So you would take the radius and you're going to multiply it by itself. So the area is equal to pi 3.14 times the radius squared. Okay? That is an important thing for us to know right now. And I'll pull out the cylinder in a second. So let's see. So for our lesson today, we're going to be going through these items right here. This is our topic, volume of a cylinder. And you can see that it is due on the 14th of April, which is next Tuesday. I have two more videos, two more lessons that we're going to be doing this week. I'm going to post that one on Wednesday, and one on Thursday. I spread them out a little bit so that you guys will not get overwhelmed with it. All right. I don't want you guys thinking that this is so much work, I can't get it done. All right. But if you pace yourself, if you do one lesson at a time, you should be fine. Okay. So tomorrow I'll post another video, and then the following day, I'm going to post one more video for you guys. And all those items are due on Tuesday of next week, 14 April. When you get in here for each one of the lessons, you're going to see what it says, read first. I need you guys to click on that and then click on the link there. That link is going to pull up the lesson plan. That lesson plan shows you everything that you should learn in this lesson and what you need to do. Okay? It is a written version of what I'm doing for you guys right now. Once you have read that, I need you guys to answer this bell work. Okay? So when you go here, on yours, it's going to have an actual question for you. All right? And the question this week is, which is more pizza? One 18-inch pizza or two 12-inch pizzas? Okay? Which one of those two is going to have more pizza in it? And if you don't know, if you can't figure out how to do it, I've given you a video that you could watch. I have the YouTube link on here. It is an educational video, so you should be able to access it even with the computers that you got from the county. Right here is the lesson presentation that you're currently watching, and it has the slides and also has the whiteboard if I end up using the whiteboard. It has the videos. Third thing is this video. It's a short YouTube video, about 4 minutes long, that's going to help you understand the concepts of a cylinder better. And then you have a worksheet that you need to do. Just go in here, fill out the forms. If it marks something wrong, that just may be a little typo that you've done. I am going to go through everything and make sure that your answers are correct, even if it marked it wrong. Okay, that's just a way of me looking through things really quick and making sure that things are correct. Finally, you can see down here the office hours hangout and the appointments in small groups links. So for office hours, that's from Monday through Friday from 1 to 2. If you just click on that, it's going to take you to a video chat where I'm going to be in there with other students. Make sure that when you come in there, that you're being respectful and that you're not being loud because other people may be in that meeting. Also, right here is the appointments in small groups. If you can't make it to one of my meetings, one of my office hours from 1 to 2, then feel free to set up a meeting with me at another time. You can click on that one, and it'll take you to my calendar and let you do the work there, okay? So now we're going to be going through our slides here. And you see that right here is our normal standards that we always deal with. And we also have the evidence of learning. Those were the 3 things that I told you about at the beginning of class. Our next slide brings us into our lesson itself. You can see here it says the volume of a cylinder is the area of the base times the height. So once again, we're going to take the base of the cylinder right here, the area of that base, which is a circle, and we're going to multiply it by the height. Okay, and when you watch that second video on YouTube, you're going to see what that means a little bit better. It's going to be a little bit better to explain there. So for example, take a cylinder whose radius is 2 centimeters. So the radius from the center to the outside of the circle is 2 centimeters, and whose height is 5 centimeters. The base has an area of 4 pi. Since pi times 2 squared equals 4 pi, so the volume is 20 pi centimeters cubed, since 4 pi times 5 is equal to 20 pi. Now, if we use 3.14 for pi, we can say that the volume of the cylinder is about 62.8 centimeters cubed. Okay? So in general, the base of a cylinder with radius r units has area pi r squared square units. If the height is h units, then the volume in cubic units is volume equals pi r squared h. So here's our formula right there. The formula that we're going to need to be using to figure out the volume of these cylinders right here. We're going to use volume, V, is equal to pi r squared. And you know pi r squared from the base. The base is a circle times the height. Okay? So you need to figure out the area of the circle on the bottom and then multiply it by the height. Pi r squared times height. And once you've known that, you're also able to start figuring out things the opposite direction. So what are some of the possible volumes for the cylinder if the diameter is 8? So we know the diameter goes from edge to edge, straight through the middle. So if the diameter is 8, then the radius is going to be 4. And we could say that h could be anything. It could be height of 1, 2, or 3. And we'll then take that and we'll do pi 3.14 times 4 squared times the height. This one I wouldn't worry about too much. Don't worry about this slide. As a matter of fact, if I'm able to cut this out, I'm going to cut this out. So go ahead and don't worry about anything I just said there. So, like I said, we've explained that volume is equal to pi r squared times the height. And we can say that the volume depends on the radius and the height. And if we know the radius and the height, we could find volume. It's also true that if we know the volume in one dimension, either the radius or the height, we can find out the other dimension. Okay, it's just like we were doing when we were solving equations. Okay, if we know two of those items, we can figure out the third. So for example, imagine a cylinder that has a volume of 500 pi centimeters cubed. So we know the capacity, we know how much this cylinder can hold. It's 500, and that's going to be our volume. And a radius of 5 centimeters, but the height is unknown. So we have this formula now, and I'm sure that they're there. All right. So now we have the volume. We replaced V with 500 pi, and that's going to be equal to pi itself times 25, because 5 times 5, or 5 squared, is 25. And we don't know the height, so we left it as h. So that's our equation. Now looking at the structure of the equation, we can see that 500 is equal to 25h, because they removed the pi on both sides. So 500 equals 25h. That means that the height has to be 20 centimeters, since 500 divided by 25 is equal to 20. Like I said, if this is too hard for you guys at the time, if you need more explanation, feel free to come to my office hours. Feel free to set up an appointment, okay? So let's imagine another cylinder. Now this cylinder has the same amount of volume. We don't know what the radius is, but we do know that the height is 5 centimeters. And we're trying to figure out the radius of it. So now you can look at the equation and see that we're going to put 500 pi is equal to pi times radius squared times 5. We know that equation has to be true. So now looking at the structure of that equation, we can see that r squared is equal to 100, because they've divided both sides by pi. It brought it to 500 equals r squared times 5, and then they divided by 5 on both sides. So we get r squared equals 100. So now he's going to find the square root, and we all know how to do that. You go onto your calculator and you press the square root button. If you need help figuring that out, I can help you guys out with that as well. So we know that the radius has to equal 10 centimeters. Okay? So that's pretty much it. That's all you guys will be focusing on throughout these 2 lessons. I know I say that's all it is and that it looks easy, but once again, if you're having troubles with it, if you can't figure it out, you can always come to my office hours from 1 to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, and I can help you out. I'm always available. And you can always set up an appointment with me. I have time set aside for small groups, and I have time set aside for one-on-ones. So if you want to do that, you or your parents, if they need to talk to me, can set up an appointment for me. And you can find those links in these week's topics. So look, for this week, here's the hangout for office hours that I'm available from 1 to 2. And here's the link for small groups. Okay? So if you need my help, please reach out. I want to make sure that you guys are understanding this. And I'm telling you, most of you guys, if I spend about 5 minutes explaining this to you one-on-one or in a small group, you'll get it just fine, okay? So go ahead and watch the video that follows along this one right here from YouTube. That one should help a little bit better with visualizing what I'm talking about. And then try answering the worksheets. Whatever you can't figure out on there, bring it to me in office hours. All right, guys, good luck. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to me, email me, hit me up in office hours, whatever's necessary. I'll talk to you guys later.